Hello everyone, and let's dive into Raised by Narcissists subreddit, where I am more important than my kid. The first story is by Sam. I am green beans in ham. I attend college in Arizona. My mom and stepdad live in Maine. I've gone very low contact with them over the 3 years I've been in school. These summers, I've managed to get a job or internship to keep me out here. 4 months ago, my narcissistic mom sent me an email telling me that I was coming to Thanksgiving. She wanted the family together and had a photographer coming to take photos, so we could fake being a happy family for a few hours. I told her I would not be coming because of my job on campus. She then called the school, who told her that A, I am over 18, therefore they cannot tell her anything, and when she threatened to pull me out, the awesome lady at the registers told her, "Good luck, he's on a full scholarship and pays for everything himself." When she realized she couldn't lie to the school, she had my stepdad call me to beg me to come home. I ignored his calls. She then called my bio dad, who laughed at her and hung up. We have our issues, but he's genuinely a good guy who's dealt with his own issues his whole life. So on Thanksgiving, I woke up, went to the gym, enjoyed a leisurely breakfast at my favorite cafe. The school was closed that day, so I didn't actually have to work. I came home and was getting ready to throw laundry in the washer when my door was pretty much knocked down. Those were campus cops and outside cops. Well, guess whose mom called and said that her son was going to bomb the school? Yeah, so after a trip to campus police building, them searching my room and car and finding nothing, my RA and 2 floor mates defending me, and me showing my emails from mom threatening me that I would be so sorry for not coming to Thanksgiving. They apologized and I was allowed to go back to my dorm, where I, with the help of the RA, managed to put the door back on. Then my grandma calls me, and guess who was arrested for making a false police report? If you guessed my narcissistic mom, you'd be right. Oh my god, OP! I guess that was 100% not the Thanksgiving she ever imagined. The next story is by Ash in Onyx. When I was around 6, I started developing eczema or atopic dermatitis rashes around my hands and arms. Progressively, they have gotten worse, and now I am 21 and the rashes cover over 16 of my body. They constantly bleed, react painfully to movement, or even water from showering. That's where I am right now. Growing up, I would ask my parents to take me to a doctor about it. They were both full-time workers with successful careers and plenty of income. But they even rejected an allergy screening while they bought a 3rd car, citing how expensive it would be to test me. When I finally worked enough to get my own healthcare and took the screening, it was only $20. By that point, however, I was already distancing myself. I knew something was wrong with me, but they told me for years and years that I was being overdramatic and that these symptoms were all in my head. When I was 19, still in college, they excommunicated me for questioning my gender identity and made me homeless. I am now 21 and still haven't spoken with them since. Thankfully, I've been transitioning on my own with great success and have a place to stay, so no worries there. 2 days ago, I responded to an advertisement for medical volunteers for atopic dermatitis research and met with the doctors. As it turns out, they are researching a medication that would merely be a competitor to medication that has been successful and FDA approved for years. For years, there has been an answer to my sleepless nights and bloodied sheets, my inability to run or swim or exercise, my waking up to flaky, itchy skins all over my legs. At worst, I would maybe have watery eyes, but I would have had clear skin as early as middle school. The doctors criticized the weak medications my parents allowed me to take instead and cited their severe side effects and long-term issues, disgusted at my parents' neglect. It was the validation I've needed for 15 years. I've been approved to begin participating as a volunteer for their medication, and I'm being paid and covered for all related treatments. I have lost my job months ago due to my condition worsening beyond being capable of pretty much any jobs, so having essentially free healthcare is exhilarating. If I'd never distanced myself from my family, I'd probably never have had this medication. Anyways, I just wanted to write this so that others can learn just how damaging and crippling it can be not to trust your children when they tell you they're sick. For years. Well, OP, I am so sorry that you had to go through this and you were neglected by your parents, but I am very glad that now you are getting all the necessary medication, and I really do hope that from now on you will just improve. The next story is by Eat More Unicorns. Every time my mom is short on money, she asks me for it. She thinks of me as her own personal bank, and I have finally stopped allowing it this past year. I used to let her borrow the money because she did actually pay it back, but then she got really bad about not paying it back. The final straw for me was when I gave her $500 at the beginning of the year, and she promised to pay it back when she got her taxes back in April. I let her borrow it because I had some extra left from Christmas and she was struggling. Of course, she never paid it back, and if I bring it up, she always hits me with the "I raised you and sacrificed my whole life, blah blah blah" crap she likes to pull. After that happened, I stopped giving her any money. Anytime she asks, I just tell her that I don't have any money, so I can't help her. Now, she has started telling me things like, "You need to learn how to manage your money better." Anytime I tell her I don't have any to give her. How the F can you tell me to manage my money better when you are the one always asking for money because you can't manage yours? OP, stay strong, do not give her any money, and yeah, let's not eat more unicorns. The next story is by Bellamy1715. I was home from college, and while in my parents' house, I walked up the stairs in a way that my father did not approve of. So my dad is yelling at me about, I can't remember what. I'm too loud, too quiet, too quick, too slow, not using the railing correctly, well, something. And then I ask him, very sarcastically, so every time I walk up the stairs, I need to stop first and think about how you would want me to do it? And he gets this beautiful look on his face, this smile like he's seen Jesus. And he says, "Finally, you're beginning to understand. Yes, before you do anything, before you walk or talk or even take a breath, you should think about how to do it in a way that I would want you to. And when you have learned to do that, then you will have finally begun to love me. Then, and only then, can you begin to really love me the way a parent should be loved by their child." I swear that this is nearly word for word what the man said. And this is why, after I graduated, I did not move back home. I packed up and moved 1,000 miles away, and I never regretted it, even for a second. Well, I guess if the man has this strong of an opinion on how to use the railing, well, I guess that was the best decision to move as far as possible. The next story is by Eddie Anja. I, 24-year-old female, moved out of home 2 years ago and had to leave behind my siblings when I left. My 10-year-old sister was the hardest for me to leave because I basically raised her. I've been trying to get my narcissistic mom to let her come and stay with me for visits, but she always found excuses to refuse until this summer when she finally agreed. My sister is staying with my husband and me for 2 weeks, and tomorrow completes the first week of her stay. And my God, the stuff she says is breaking my heart. The most painful part is how she keeps bringing up how happy she is in my house because my husband and I are both so nice. What hurts me about it is that we are just treating her with basic human respect and decency. We are not doing anything above and beyond. If we cook dinner, we ask her input on what she likes. If we are picking what to watch, we do not watch shows she doesn't like. I let her borrow my clothes when she ran out, because my mom sent her with only enough clothes for like 3 days. I let her use my painting supplies to do art. Literally, just the most basic kindness. She even told me that she thinks that her art turns out better at my house, and when I asked her why that could be, maybe of different art supplies or something else, she told me very simply that no, she thinks it's because she's happier here and it affects her art. She also tells me at every opportunity that she loves me, but in the way that you say it like it's a question and you're not sure that you will hear it back. I tell her I love her too every time, and she has an endless chain of these hypothetical "would you still love me" why questions, and is amazed that even as her situation becomes more and more ludicrous, my answer is always yes, I will always love you. She also keeps comparing my home to the home I grew up and the one she's still trapped in. If we laugh about something, she will point out that at home everyone is serious and does not laugh. But if I get mad about something and resolve it without yelling, she will point out how at home everyone would already be screaming at her. She's only 10 years old, but is so unhappy. My mom is a raging narcissist and everyone is afraid of her, so nobody sticks up for the youngest kid. I am the oldest child and I have 3 brothers between my sister and me. So when I left, my parents turned to her as their personal therapist. I am just so angry and sad at the same time. How can anyone treat a child like this? I have done nothing special at all, just provide her with unconditional love, but to her, it's like she's in paradise. My mom will never let her go entirely, but if she would, I would adopt my sister in a heartbeat. I keep offering my mom to help you out and give you a break from all the stress you're under by having my sister live with me for a summer or something. I think I have to start small so she considers it. But she always comes back with some bullshit about how she couldn't bear to be parted from her baby. If that were true, you wouldn't neglect her and lock yourself in your office to work on your master's degree and ignore her pleas for attention. I also started my master's degree this semester and it's all online, so I'm also working from my home office. But I let her come in and out and play quietly on the floor or chatter to me about what's going on in her life. This evening before bed, she brought that up as another example of how nice I am, and I asked her to explain that, and she told me she's never allowed in mom's office, and whenever she tries to go in there, my mom goes off at her, screaming to get out and shut the damn door and leave her the F alone. I could go on for days about how many things my little sister has said, but I won't because it's too depressing. To end on a somewhat positive note, I have hope for the future because I know I can do better for my future kids than my mom ever did. If my mom ever loosens her claws from my sister, I will get her out and she can come live with me and will never ever question whether she is loved. That was our voyage into Raised by Narcissists subreddit. Thank you for listening and subscribe for more.